Can We Afford the Green New Deal? By Yeva Nersisyan and Randall Wray. Introduction. Advocates of the Green New Deal strive to change the way we approach a variety of problems facing society. Climate change and destruction of our natural environment, rising inequality, and an economy that leaves too many with inadequate access to food, shelter, healthcare, and affordable education. They see these problems as linked, and so insist on tackling them with an array of programs that have hitherto been seen as disconnected: a carbon-neutral energy policy and reversing climate change, universal single-payer health care, student debt relief and free public college, prison reform, ending forever wars, increasing care for the young, sick, and old, and the job guarantee. Many supporters and proponents of the Green New Deal are worried that large, perhaps confiscatory, tax hikes will be needed to pay for it. They typically warn of the high financial costs and hence of prospective dangerously high government deficits. From the perspective of modern money theory, MMT, these arguments are beside the point. A sovereign government's finances are not like the budgeting of households and firms. The government uses the monetary system to mobilize the nation's real resources and to move some of them to pursuit of the public purpose. Whatever the financial costs, we already have a financial system that can handle them. What is less certain is whether there are suitable real resources that can be mobilized for a Green New Deal. To determine that, we need to do an accounting of available resources, including potential excess capacity and resources that can be shifted away from existing production, and to weigh those against what will be needed. If we can identify technologically feasible projects that would achieve the Green New Deal's goals and the resources to devote to these projects, then we can arrange for the financing of the programs. Only after a careful resource accounting can we address the question of whether taxes or other means might be needed to reduce private spending to avoid inflation as the Green New Deal is phased in. This policy brief summarizes findings presented in detail in our other Levy Institute working paper, Nersisyan and Wray 2019. Here we use estimates of resource sources and uses that we generated from our literature survey and from our own calculations. Interested readers are referred to the working paper for more details on our methodology and calculations. We hope our attempt spurs further research to carefully assess resource availability to compare against the resource needs of full implementation of the Green New Deal we outline here. Our approach closely follows that of John Maynard Keynes in How to Pay for the War, 1940. In order to determine the net resource requirements for the Green New Deal, we evaluate the main Green New Deal projects to gauge whether they would be a source or a use of resources. We largely follow Keynes's method, which is to mostly use monetary measures, dollars in our case, as proxies for resource quantities. Ideally, we would use a measure of real productive capacity, the ability of a resource to produce output. But as we have heterogeneous resource inputs and heterogeneous outputs, this is difficult. As such, the estimates can provide only a very rough guide. Uncertainties remain concerning the technologies, the quantity of resources needed, the suitability of the resources that can be made available, the political feasibility, and the capacity of our democracy to successfully face the challenges ahead. But we believe that our approach, informed by MMT and Keynes, provides more guidance about the question of the Green New Deal's affordability than the conventional approach of merely adding up the dollar costs of Green New Deal projects. Assessing economic feasibility of the Green New Deal needs to focus on technological know-how and resources, not on the dollar costs.